Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, look at that. I think we changed things up a little bit over here to adjust the lights, and that seems to have worked a little bit. And so, pretty excited about that. We'll continue to make adjustments as that goes along. Not exactly what I really wanted to talk about, but it was something that was on the top of my mind. Yep, it's a total advancement through different obstacles and to make sure things work and things work correctly as that goes. So let's go over here. I think we're good. I think we're definitely good. It's the end of the year. We're going to talk about goals. Why? Because it seems like it's public opinion, right? New Year's resolutions, things like that. How'd we do this year? Well, if you're running a business, the how'd we do this year probably won't take place for another couple of months by the time you get done with all the, you know, taking a look at the books and the income streams and all the rest of that kind of stuff. Getting tax returns, W-2s if you're an employee, 1099s, whatever it might be that you take a look at. So that's January into February. Should you hold off on your goals until February? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's a good idea. Should you even hold off on your goals until the end of the year? Nope. I don't think so either. Maybe you should review them all the time. Review them every day. Well, whoa. Reviewing them every day, that might be a little bit out of control too, right? How in the world can you do it every day? Well, you can. You can do that. Oh, heck, I've seen all kinds of different things. I don't know if that makes sense. Review it every week? Maybe. Review it every month? Depends. If you're an established business, to review everything every day, I don't know about that. I don't even know if you could really, truly figure out the effectiveness on anything within a given day. Yeah, you may want to take a look back on the day and see how it went. And there's different ways of doing that. But is that really the goal? Is your goal set on a day-to-day basis? No. Small things, yes. You want to get up in the morning, you want to do say a prayer, positive affirmation, start the day off right. Think and then understand that today is going to be a good day with challenges. Maybe keep that 80-20 rule in there. But bigger goals, nah. Staying in line with those bigger goals, now that is quite a bit more challenging, right? That really becomes a bit more of an issue. How do you stay focused within those goals? And I could tell you right now, there's a reason why there's nobody standing behind me when I say this, because I'm terrible. I'm just flat out terrible at it. I look forward to looking at this video a year from now and saying, man, what the heck are you talking about? What gives you the right to talk about why and how people should stay focused on goals and how to stay streamlined and how to say no? Where the heck is my credibility? Well, I don't have any credibility in that area. I really don't. I say yes. I was like, oh yeah, I can help you out. That's fine. New project. That's exciting. Count me in. What are we doing Tuesday? I got an extra 30 minutes. Yeah, sure. I could do that. You want to meet for breakfast, for lunch? Yeah, no, that's good. Dinner? I can't do dinner because I'm obligated with other things. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. Sat down with a buddy of mine, business coach, sales coach. We're talking implementation guy here, not so much a strategy guy. Strategy guy is one person. This is implementation guy. So he sat down. And he says, and he said, I want to take you out to dinner. It's my time. I'm like, oh man, this is not good. He goes, yeah. That means I'm asking you questions. You're answering those questions because it's my time. I'm paying you for my time. It's like, all right, it was a little odd way of doing it, but that was that. We went through the amount of time I spend during the week on other things all over the place. It was too much. It was just too much. But it was like, oh, I said, oh, but this makes sense. But well, there's enjoyment there. But there's a gazillion different butts get tossed in there. It's like, man, so right. So it's staying focused. This year, last year, definitely put more of an effort into that. The question is, do you really know what you're aiming to accomplish? What is that common thread? That is certainly something I've been a lot more focused on. Still taking on a couple of different projects as it goes along, but it's got to fit within the common thread. The goal, well, that's somewhat of a goal, but that's just the common thread. It keeps me a bit more, in line. Common thread. So what's your common thread? What is it? What is it? If you're in and we'll go back to the digital marketing business. If you're in the digital marketing business and you got invited to learn about something to do with marketing, to make sense? Yeah, there's a common thread. It's got that word marketing in over there. If you got invited to learn how to make a computer, actually make a computer, build a computer, you're like, why? If you were to go out there and take lessons on something that's got nothing to do with marketing, the question is why? If you were to go out there and get involved with, let's say, the nonprofit community, and I'm very involved, and I think being involved with the nonprofit community makes sense. But if you're getting involved with the nonprofit community because a friend has asked you to do it, and you're like, yeah, I could help, and that kind of thing, but you're not using your skill set, all of a sudden you become the event coordinator person. You're out there, trying to get sponsorship. Let's put it that way. Put on and get sponsorship for it. It's not exactly your thing, and it's not exactly a nonprofit. Is that a distraction? Very well could be. And maybe your relationship with that person is that strong that it makes sense for you to do. So there is always that. Yes, it's possible, that it does make sense for you to do, because look, that goodwill, the goodwill is a big part of things too. But if you just stay a little bit more focused on that business aspect of it, the goal side of it, if your goal is to build deep relationships with somebody, then you know what, you bend over backwards for people. There are certainly people that I would look to do what I possibly can do to help them, even if it's a steer out of the way of what I'm doing, because that relationship is important. But when it comes to your goals, if you were to get involved with that nonprofit and you are in the marketing business, maybe it makes sense for you to do the nonprofit, not be involved with trying to get sponsorships, but trying to market that nonprofit to different companies that may help with the sponsorships. Now you're using your skill set. That makes a little bit more sense. That's what you call staying, in line, keeping it within some focus of what it is that you're trying to accomplish. That becomes important. So that's one of the things that I've tried to do. At least keep most of everything, that in line with what we're trying to accomplish over here. But the distractions keep on coming up. They certainly do. Could be a day-to-day thing, could be something else, could be the dear old COVID that just doesn't want to seem to go away, does it? All of a sudden we're back in the game again with that one. Hopefully this one's not as severe from a health standpoint, but it does appear that the possibilities of getting this variant of the COVID is higher. And I think the big concern on that one is the fact that people are very concerned about the hospital system. If you get too many people going into the hospital at the same time, it just is an unbelievable strain on that one. So, that therein lies, I think, that, concern over the whole thing. But it becomes a distraction. Even turning on the news and listening to everything that takes place over there, it's a distraction. Should you know? Yeah. Should you be so involved, knowing all the gory details that goes along with it? Maybe not, So keep that in mind as you are a bit more streamlining your own efforts. So I have something that I want to share with you that I've done in the past, and perhaps we'll get together. We'll do that one again. It's funny. I've tried to go more and more digital in my efforts. So what I used to use was a book. Yeah, a book, a piece of paper and all the rest of that kind of stuff, and wrote down those things. But got to digitize. Maybe it's something to do on that one. Figure out how to digitize many of these things. But our friends over at TEDx have given presentations on a lot of different things, and that is something I'd like to share with you. and then we will see what they have to say. This TEDx talk is about achieving goals. Goes for about 10 minutes over here. The issue is, if you want to achieve your goals, don't focus on them. Now, that's a surprising comment, is it not? Don't focus on your goals in order to achieve your goals. Really? Like, that makes sense? How does that make sense? I'm not too sure how it makes sense, but we're about to find out. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Let's listen to Reggie Rivers at TEDx Crestball Park.
All right, so if you want to achieve your goals, don't focus on them. That goes against everything we've ever said about goals, right? Everything everyone ever talks about goals is you pick out what it is you want to do, you set your goals, you write them down, you stay focused on them, you check your list over and over again, you come back to it, and that's how you achieve your goals. Well, I have learned over the course of my life and watching other people and studying other things that that is not the way to achieve goals. We all talk about setting goals, but we don't talk that much about how do you actually achieve goals. So I started learning this lesson with my first girlfriend in life. Her name was Lysandra Johnson. You guys have never seen Lysandra, you have to take my word for it. She was the most beautiful sixth grader God had ever created. And for the record, I was in sixth grade too. I used to look at this girl and think every day, I would love for Lysandra to be my girlfriend. But I was young and I was afraid, so I didn't go say anything to her. Well, one day I'm standing on the playground during recess. I don't know where the courage came from, but I decided today is the day. I wasn't going to wait another day. I turned to my buddy, John Statura, and I said, John, go ask Lysandra to go with me. So he goes walking over to her and he poses the question. Her little group of friends giggles. She says something back. He comes walking back to me and he said, Reggie, Lysandra said if you weren't her to be your girlfriend, you've got to ask her yourself. I thought, I'm in sixth grade. I sent my best man. What does she want? Well, there was no way I was going to ask her myself. So I continued to think about her for the rest of that school year. Summer break came and I thought about Lysandra Johnson every day of summer break. The next year was seventh grade. At my school, you had a different class every hour and lockers between classes. Well, first hour, I had woodshop. First hour, Lysandra had home economics. At my school, you're allowed to change one class as long as the class you're moving out of met at the same time as the class you're moving into. So I walked in the principal's office, said I'd like to change from woodshop to home economics. I walk in the home ec room. There are 22 or 23 girls in this classroom, one boy named Jurgen Kuhn, and now me. I asked a girl named Tara Bergamini to move over so I could sit next to Lysandra Johnson, and that day I asked her to go with me myself. Thank you. Thank you. She said no. That was my first lesson in the prerogative of women. There would be many more. But to make a long story short, Lysandra did end up becoming my girlfriend for 2 weeks and 3 days later in that school year. But I tell that story because that's the first time in my life that I can say that I purposely focused on the part that was in my control and ignored the part that was outside of my control. That was the first time in my life that I purposely focused on my behaviors rather than my goal. We set goals for ourselves, but our goals are things that are outside of our control. Whatever it is you want to achieve in your life, if you're a student and you want to get an A in a class, that's outside of your control. You don't get to write A's on all of your papers. You have a teacher who's going to grade those papers. You have a teacher who's going to give you assignments. Somebody else is setting the curriculum. Somebody else is grading you. You don't control what your grade is. If you want to be the world's best salesman, you don't get to make all the sales yourself. You don't get to do both sides of the transaction. You got to recruit customers into your life. Goals require you to have the participation of other people. Therefore, they are outside of your control. So if you spend too much time focusing on your goals, you never achieve them. Behaviors, by contrast, are things that you alone can do. It doesn't take a parent, a teacher, a coach, a friend, a neighbor, a spouse, a child. It doesn't require anyone else. You alone can do behaviors. And behaviors are the things that you focus on in order to achieve your goals. And look at the situation with Lysandra Johnson and I. When I was focused on my goal, which was to have this girl be my girlfriend, I couldn't speak to her if I was walking past her in the hallway. In my head, all the time was, Lysandra's cute, I want her to be my girlfriend. Lysandra's cute, I want her to be my girlfriend. We're walking past her in the hallway, I would turn the other way. I would not even say hello to her because I was terrified. All I could think about was my goal. When she told my friend John, if Rachel wants me to be his girlfriend, he's got to ask me himself, I heard yes. So I stopped thinking about the goal. The goal had already been achieved. I came back to focusing on my behaviors. Once I started focusing on my behaviors, I figured out what class she had in first hour. I learned the rules at our school about changing classes. I went to the principal's office talking to adults, saying, hey, listen, I got to change class. I got a girl to catch. I walk in the home ec room, a room full of girls. I was afraid to talk to one girl. Now there's a room full of girls. And I was like, ladies, I'm here. I asked Tara to move over so I could sit next to Lysandra, and she did. I had a little swagger to me because I heard yes. And when I heard yes, I stopped focusing on the goal and I started focusing on my behavior, and I got myself in a position to achieve my goal. Well, she said no at the time, but later she said yes. But I learned years later when I look back and I thought about that, I thought that's really the model for what happens in life. It's a metaphor. If you think about what we all go through with, say, weight loss. We're all on a diet at one point or another. I'm on one now, involuntarily. My wife has put me on one. But we're all on a diet at one point or another. And how does a diet start? It starts with a goal. You say, I want to lose 10 pounds by the end of the year. Okay, that's great. You have a goal. If you stay focused on that goal, you will never lose 10 pounds. Because what's the next thing we do? We go from our goal to the scale. We say, okay, I'm going to step on the scale. Scale, please tell me if I've lost any of these 10 pounds. I haven't lost any pounds. I gained a pound. Okay. And we keep coming back to the scale. And, you go through a week where you eat well, you're exercising, you're drinking a lot of water, you're doing all the right things, and you get on the scale and you gain weight, you quit the diet. If you focus on your goal, you won't achieve it. Instead, you have to focus on your behaviors. Your behaviors are what are in your control. You control the food that you put in your mouth. You control the liquids that you put in your mouth. You control how much exercise you do. You control how you feel about the weight that you are. You control how you feel about the amount of food that you're eating. You could either be like, feel deprived and miserable. Oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world. I'm eating less than I used to eat and I'm starving all the time. I feel miserable. I can't believe I'm on this diet. It's awful. Or you could say, I'm proud of myself. I'm eating less than I used to eat. I had this instead of that. I feel good. I know that if I keep this up, when I get on the scale is going to tell me something good. If the scale doesn't tell me something good right now, I know that if I keep this up, I'm going to get where I'm going. Right now, we treat the scale as if the scale is an oracle sent down from God to tell us about ourselves. When you're on a diet, it's like, oh, mighty oracle, please tell me what I should think about myself today. You're fat. Oh! The oracle has spoken. If you focus too much on your goal, if you focus on what it is you weigh, then you're never going to achieve your goal. You have to focus on your behaviors. Think about our kids. We have goals for our kids. We want our kids to be responsible. We want them to be mature. We want them to work hard in school, to work hard at their extracurriculars, to hang out with the right people. We want them to be engaged. We want all these wonderful things for our kids. And because we want these things for them and because we focus on those goals for them, we spend most of our time as parents being agitated. Why are you doing that? I told you not to do that. Get over here, do your homework. What? You're only one page in. I told you to get your homework done. And we spend all our time fussing and fussing and fussing because these kids won't do what we have in mind for them in terms of our goals. We are focused on our goal. If you focus on your goal, you'll never achieve it. You have to focus on your behaviors. Behaviors are things that are in your control solely. So you can't control what your kids do. You can control your reaction to your kids. You control rewards. You control consequences. You control your consistency. You control whether you deliver on the things that you say you're going to do. You control whether you respond to your kids at a level 10 or a level 3. You control what you control. And when you focus on the part that's in your control, which are your behaviors, you tend to achieve your goals. So how does this work? The way that I do it in my life, when I set a goal for myself, I make a goal and I'll say, whatever it is, I want to lose 10 pounds. So then I immediately look and I say, behaviors are very short term. I only believe that I can control my behaviors for 7 days. That's it. So when I set a goal, I say, what can I do today that's going to help me get closer to that goal? What can I do tomorrow that's going to help me get closer to that goal? And what can I do this week that's going to get me closer to that goal? Today, tomorrow, and this week. I write things down in those three categories and plan out how I'm going to go after the goals that I have in my life. And that gets me focused on my behaviors. And I know that if I focus on my behaviors day after day, I keep myself motivated day after day. I feel good about what I've done because I say, I did this, I did that, I did that. I'm not worried about the goal. I'm not worried about how much I weigh. I'm not worried about how many sales I've made. I'm not worried about anything that's outside of my control. I'm focused 100% on the part that's in my control. If you want to achieve your goals, don't focus on them. If you want to achieve your goals, you have to focus on the behaviors that are the building blocks that get you to your goals. Thank you very much.
All right, there we go. Let's go here. Stop sharing, close that, bring it back over here. Still, if I can figure out how to do that, we're keeping eye contact with you. We're getting better. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe one day we get ourselves an assistant, somebody else to work on this thing. Also got to figure out how to get rid of all that extra white on the outside of it because I think it makes it a little too bright. Or we back up a little bit. Whatever it might be, that's it. But he's right. What about the goals? Well, here's the goals. I want to make this thing look better. Well, that's a goal. I can sit here and think about that all the time, but if I don't do something, I don't take some action, it's not going to happen. So I'll pivoted the screen around a little bit more so. Try to figure out this a little bit more so as to how to get that lighting to work out really properly as that goes. Still can't believe I'm having such a challenging time with that one, but that's beside the point. Let's go back in the day when I used to actually coach. It was a bunch of salespeople. I was the sales manager in an office. And at the beginning of the year, we would go around and everybody would fill out these forms. I created them so they were brief. That's another thing too. How if you're setting yourself up and you want to achieve something, how much effort should you put into the plan itself, those goals? Should it be long or short? I opted for a shorter one, and did that. It was no more than 2 pages, a little bit of historical information about things that each of those people had accomplished. And then the questions had to do with what do you like to do? And ultimately, what sales numbers do you actually want to get to? Part of the reason why I went with the backward information is I want to show them that I put effort into creating it, not just coming up with a bunch of questions, but actually come up with creating it. So they saw I put effort into it too. Just as a little aside, if you're going to be working with any of the salespeople, any of your folks that you work with, even if it's referral partners, put a little effort into it. Don't just give information and ask questions, but give a little backwards stuff, such as referral partner. You could have statistics that 60% of your new business comes from referrals. Mary, you've been terrific with referrals. Last year, you gave me 3 people. Of those 3 people, 2 of them did not work out. The other one did, and that was great. Hey, really appreciate it, that kind of thing. Now they know that you're not just showing up and saying, hey, Mary, can I get a referral from you? It's like, really? So does that fit in line with what Reggie was just talking about? Yeah, absolutely. So the goal is to get more referral business, right? But you need things to happen. You need Mary to give you more referrals. Okay, but how's that going to happen? It's only up to Mary if she's going to do that. So that's out of your control whether she does it or not. What's in your control is showing Mary how much you care about that relationship, about how much you care about her giving you referrals and how much you care about referrals because you've done all this backwards work stating that 60% of your business comes from referrals. She gave you 3 referrals. You were honest. 2 of them just did not work out. 1 of them did, and that made an impact in your overall year. Those are all actions that you take that will show Mary that you're very serious about it, and that is what you can do. Going back to those folks that I was talking to on the sales side of things, it was a matter of wanting to do a certain level of commission business. Call it $250,000 in commission business. Prior year, they did $150,000 in commission business. So what does that tell you right off the bat? One is that they can't do what they've been doing, exactly what they've been doing over the past year. It needs to change a little bit. They need to do something different. So if their goal is just to do $250,000 and have what is better, 80% or so, 75%, increase, in business to do it, they're going to change their efforts by that 75 percentage points. They're going to do something a little bit different. What is it? It can't just be a matter of wishing for it to happen. It can't just be a matter of, well, maybe the customer will buy more. Well, maybe doesn't do it. Hope doesn't do it. So just wishing of that goal, thinking of that goal, writing that goal down. Well, writing that goal down, there is something to do because it reminds you about the goal. But writing that goal down also reminds you of something else. Exactly what he was talking about. The actions that you need to take in order to get there. So when I was doing those plans, it actually was more important for them to, one, believe that $250,000 number, but to really map out, not the 250, but to map out those things that they like to do, those things that they will do in order to contact more potential clients or further the relationship with existing clients. Because that's really what it comes down to. Whether they buy or not, can't tell. You don't know. You're presenting an idea. Maybe they like it. Maybe they don't. It's another thing. So not only do we need to reach out to more people, we need to reach out to more of the right people. Look, I could be selling meat, right? Oh, the best T-bone steaks in the world. But if I'm only talking to vegetarians, I'm going no place with this whole thing. Nowhere. Got to know who your customer is and do that. Make sure those things are important. So that goes back to action again. Making sure that you're speaking to the right people. Make sure that you do understand who your target market is. Who is it that is more apt to be receptive to that conversation? All that stuff he's talking about all makes sense. What has to happen now, it does need to be put in writing or at least in front of you. Let's use that word now. It needs to be put in front of you. Great suggestion. I always told for somebody, put it on your screensaver. Exactly what it is that you're trying to do. Everything I do needs to be microphone related. If it touches a microphone, it's kind of in line with me. What's your major focus? What is the parameters that you have where something is in line with what it is that you're trying to do, that common thread thing of what it is that you're trying to accomplish? That's where it goes. You could put that $250,000 in commission number right up at the top of that screen. But what also is important is to draw that circle. Make sure that all those actions that you take are within that circle. Because that focus, staying within that area, that common thread, that's what's going to get you to that goal of $250,000. Taking those actionable steps to make that happen. That's the important part of it. Remember now, you can do it. You got to figure out a way to communicate with yourself. Could be a whiteboard that's behind you. I got whiteboards behind me here. Could be a screensaver. Could be a piece of paper. Could be whatever it is. And then figure out a way that that stuff needs to be there where you're reminded of it each and every day. Reminded of it each and every day. So you could stay focused. So you could achieve your goals and take those little steps each and every day to drive you to success. Speak well, speak often, live inspired.